Hello guys, welcome back to another video. It's currently 12:33 a.m. 12th of March 2026 and it's my day 6 I guess. Let me check once. Yeah, so it's my day 7 of reading every day until I improve my articulation and speaking in English. And I think I'm seeing a bit progress in my speaking. So without wasting any time, let us set up a timer. And I also want to tell you that today my day was okay. I did better than yesterday, but I'm not satisfied with what I did. I could have done better in terms of achieving what I said I would. And so that's that. I'll try to even improve myself tomorrow more than today. Let's set up the timer. Start reading without any delay. Yeah, so I've set up the timer. Oh shit. I removed the bookmark. I have to set it up again. Yeah, so I was on page number 49. I read 2 paragraphs. Now I remember. Let me start again. The first purpose of reward is to satisfy your cravings. Yes, rewards provide benefits on their own. The first purpose of reward is to satisfy your craving. Yes, rewards provide benefits on their own. Food and water deliver the energy you need to survive. Getting a promotion brings you more energy and more money and respect. Getting in shape improves your health and your dating prospects. But the more immediate benefit is that rewards satisfy your craving. But the more immediate benefit is that rewards satisfy your craving to eat or gain status. Satisfy your craving to eat or gain status or to win approval, at least for a moment. Rewards deliver contentment and relief from craving. Second, rewards teaches what actions are worth remembering in life. Second, rewards teach us what actions are worth remembering in the future. Your brain is a reward detector. As you go about your life, your sensory nervous system is continuously monitoring which actions satisfy your desires and deliver pleasure. Feelings of pleasure and disappointment are part of the feedback mechanism that helps your brain distinguish useful actions from useless ones. Rewards close the feedback loop and complete the habit cycle. If a behavior is sufficient in any of the if a behavior is insufficient in any of the four stages, it will not become a habit. Eliminate the cue and your habit will never start. Reduce the craving and you won't experience enough motivation to act. Make the behavior difficult and you won't be able to do it. And if the reward fails to satisfy your desire, then you'll have no reason to do it again in the future. Without the first three steps, a behavior will not occur. Without all four, a behavior will not repeat. Cue, craving, response. Response is what we do, right? So what he's saying is, make the behavior difficult and you won't be able to do it. Okay, so it has to be easy to give us the opportunity to respond. Okay, in summary, the cue triggers a craving, which motivates a response, which provides a reward, which satisfies the craving and ultimately becomes associated with the cue. Together, these four steps form a neurological feedback loop: cue, craving, response, reward. Cue, craving, response, reward, that ultimately allows you to create automatic habits. This cycle is known as habit loop. This four-step process is not something that happens occasionally, but rather it is an endless feedback loop that is running and active during every moment you are alive. Even now, your brain is continually scanning the environment, predicting what will happen next, trying out different responses and learning from the results. The entire process is complete in a split second, and we use it again and again without realizing everything that's been packed into the previous moment. We can split these four steps into two phases: the problem phase and the solution phase. The problem phase includes the cue and the craving, and it's when you realize that something needs to change. The solution phase includes the response and the reward, and it is when you take action and achieve the change you desire. All behavior is driven by desire to solve a problem. Sometimes the problem is that you notice something good and you want to obtain it. Sometimes the problem is that you are experiencing pain and you want to relieve it. Either way, the purpose of every habit is to solve the problem you face. In the table on the following page, you can see a few examples of what this looks like in real life. Imagine walking into a dark room and flipping on the light switch. You have performed this simple habit so many times that it occurred without thinking. You proceed through all the four stages in the fraction of a second. The urge to act strikes you without thinking. By the time we become adults, we rarely notice the habits that are running our lives. Most of us never give a second thought to the fact that we tie the same shoe first each morning, or unplug the toaster after each use, or always change into comfortable clothes after getting home from work. After decades of mental programming, we automatically slip into these patterns of thinking and acting. Okay, you can see few examples of what this looks like in real life. Imagine walking into a dark room and flipping on the light switch. You have performed this simple habit so many times that it occurs without thinking. You proceed through all four stages in the fraction of a second. The urge to act strikes you without thinking. By the time we become adults, we rarely notice the habits that are running our lives. So what are the examples? Problem phase, cue, craving, solution phase, response, reward. So let us start. Your phone buzzes with a new text message. You want to learn the contents of the message. That's craving. You grab your phone and read the text. That's your response. You satisfy your craving to read the message. Grabbing your phone becomes associated with the phone buzzing. You satisfy your craving to read the message. Grabbing your phone becomes associated with your phone buzzing. You satisfy your craving to read the message. Grabbing your phone becomes the response is associated with phone buzzing. So the response is associated with the cue. So the second example is you are answering emails. That's the cue. You begin to feel stressed and overwhelmed by work. You want to feel in control. You bite your nails. You satisfy your craving to reduce stress. Biting your nails become associated with answering email. Okay, so while answering email, you bite your nails unknowingly because you were emailing, you are answering the emails, then you felt stressed due to work, and once you want to feel in control. So how is biting nails related to feeling in control? I don't know. You wake up, you want to feel alert. You drink a cup of coffee. You satisfy your craving to feel alert. Drinking coffee becomes associated with waking up. You smell a donut shop as you walk down the streets near your office. You begin to crave a donut. You buy a donut and eat it. You satisfy your craving to eat a donut. Buying a donut becomes associated with walking down the street near your office. Oh, so this is how habits are built. So you just created a habit of buying a donut every day you walk by that street to your office because once you felt like doing it. So we should not act upon bad habits. Is that what he's trying to say? You hit a stumbling block on a project at work. You feel stuck and you want to relieve your frustration. You pull out your phone and check social media. You satisfy your craving to feel relieved. Checking social media becomes associated with feeling stalled at work. You walk into a dark room. You want to be able to see. You flip the light switch. Satisfy your craving to see by turning on the light switch. So turning on the light switch becomes associated with being in a dark room. Oh, that's common sense, isn't it? The 4 laws of behavior change. In the following chapters, we'll see time and time again how 4 stages of cue, craving, response, and reward influence nearly everything we do each day. Before we do that, we need to transform these 4 steps into practical framework that we can use to design good habits and eliminate bad ones. I refer to this framework as 4 laws of behavior change, and it provides a simple set of rules for creating good habits and breaking bad ones. You can think of each law as levers that influence human behavior. When the levers are in the right positions, creating good habits is effortless. When they are in the wrong position, it's nearly impossible. So how to create a good habit? The first law, regarding the cue is make it obvious. The second law regarding craving is make it attractive. Response is make it easy. Reward is make it satisfying. You can invert these laws to learn how you break a bad habit. Oh, that's interesting. Inversion of the first law, cue, make it invisible. First you have to make the habit invisible. Then craving, make it unattractive. Then the third law is response, make it difficult to achieve. And the fourth law is reward, make it unsatisfying. So The reward must be unsatisfying. So what do you have to do? Like if you like to buy a donut, every time you pass through that street, so first of all you will not go through that street to make it invisible. But even if you go to that street, how do I make it unattractive? I think that's just a mentality change. You have to change your mentality to think about it in an unattractive way. That's the only way you'll overcome the craving. How to overcome cravings? Make it unattractive. You cannot make something attractive or unattractive. It just is. You feel that way. So you have to change your feeling towards that, right? Hmm. So the third law is make it difficult. So how do I make it difficult to enter a donut shop? Uh, it should be like I don't know. He would give examples, I think so, in later on uh, chapters. He would give examples. If it doesn't, I'll figure something out on my own. I'll try to experiment, and if I get something out of these experiments by experimenting these in my real life, I'll inform you. Just remind me in the comments that you said you'll respond to that, and I'll do that. If I get an response, that is. It would be irresponsible for me to claim that these four laws are an exhausting framework for changing any human behavior, but I think they are close. As you will soon see, the four laws of behavior change apply to nearly every field from sports to politics, arts to medicine, comedy to management. These laws can be used no matter what challenge you are facing. There is no need for completely different there is no need for completely different strategies for each habit. Whenever you want to change a habit, you can simply ask yourself, how can I make this obvious? How can I make it attractive? How can I make it easy? And how can I make it satisfying? If you have ever wondered, why don't I make why don't I do what I say I'm going to do? Why don't I lose the weight or stop smoking or save for retirement or start that side business? Why do I say something is important but never seem to make time for it? The answer to these questions can be found somewhere in these four laws. The key to creating good habits and breaking bad ones is to understand these fundamental laws and how to alter them to your specification. Every goal is doomed to fail if it goes against the grain of human nature. Your habits are shaped by the system in your life. In the chapters that follow, we will discuss these laws one by one and show how you can use them to create a system in which good habits emerge naturally and bad habits wither away. Chapter summary. A habit is a behavior that has been repeated enough times to be automatic. That's been repeated like hundreds of times from the starting of this book. Definition of habit. The ultimate purpose of habit is to solve the problem of life with as little energy and efforts as possible. Yeah, that's true. Any habit can be broken down into feedback loop that involves four steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. The four laws of behavioral change are a simple set of rules we can use to build better habits. They are: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Chapter 4. The Man Who Didn't Look Right. The psychologist Gary Klein once told me a story about a woman who attended a family gathering. She has spent years working as a paramedic, and upon arriving at the event, took one look at her father-in-law and got very concerned. "I don't like the way you look," she said. Her father-in-law, who was feeling perfectly fine, jokingly replied, "Well, I don't like the way your looks either." "Well, I don't like your looks either." "No," she insisted, "you need to go to the hospital now." A few hours later, the man was undergoing life-saving surgery after the examination had revealed that he had a blockage to a major artery and was at immediate risk of heart attack. Without his daughter-in-law intervention, he would have died. Why did the paramedic? What did the paramedic see? How did she predict his impending heart attack? When the major arteries are obstructed, the body focuses on sending blood to critical organs and away from peripheral locations near the surface of skin. The result is a change in pattern of distribution of blood on the face. In the face. After many years of working with people with heart failure, the woman had unknowingly developed the ability to recognize this pattern on sight. She couldn't explain what it was that she noticed in her father-in-law's face, but she knew something was wrong. Similar stories exist in the fields. For example, military analysts can identify which blip on radar is an enemy missile and which one is a plane from their own fleet, even though they are traveling at the same speed, flying at the same altitude, and look identical on radar in nearly every aspect. During the Gulf War, Lieutenant Commander Michael Rayleigh saved an entire battleship when he ordered a missile shot down. Despite the fact that it looked exactly like the battleship's own plane on radar, he made the right call, but even his superior officers couldn't explain how he did it. Museum curators have been known to discern the difference between authentic piece of art and expertly produced counterfeit. Even though they can't tell you precisely which details tip them off. Experienced radiologists tip them off. Experienced radiologists can look at a brain scan and predict the area where stroke will develop obvious signs are before any obvious signs are visible to the untrained eye. I've heard of hairdressers noticing whether a client is pregnant based on the feel of her hair. The human behavior, the human brain is prediction machine. It conti- it is continuously taking in your surroundings and analyzing the information it comes across. When you experience something repeatedly, like a paramedic seeing a face of a heart attack patient or a military analyst seeing a missile on radar screen, your brain begins noticing what is important, sorting through the details and highlighting the relevant cues, and cataloging that information for future use. With enough practice, you can pick up the cues and predict certain outcomes without consciously thinking about it. Automatically, your brain encodes the lessons learned through experience. We cannot always explain what it is we are learning, but learning is happening all along the way, and your ability to notice the relevant cues in given situation is the foundation of every habit you have. Always explain what it is we are learning, but learning is happening all the way. Learning is happening all the way, and your ability to notice the relevant cues in a given situation is the foundation of for every habit you have. We underestimate how much our brains and bodies can do without thinking. You do not tell your hair to grow, your heart to pump, your lungs to breathe, your stomach to digest, and yet body handles all this and more on autopilot. You are much more than your conscious self. Consider hunger. How do you know you are hungry? You don't necessarily have to see a cookie on the counter to realize that it's time to eat. Appetite and hunger are governed non-consciously. Your body has a variety of feedback loops that gradually alerts you when it's time to eat again. And that track is what's going on around you and within you. And that track is what's going on around you and within you. Cravings can arise thanks to hormones and chemicals circulating throughout your body. Suddenly you are hungry even though quite sure you are not quite sure what tipped you off. This is the most one of the most surprising insights about your habits. You don't need to be aware of the cue for a habit to begin. You can notice an opportunity and take action without dedicating conscious attention to it. Take action. This is what makes habits useful. So, I'm done with today. It's 1 o'clock. I think I'll upload this video in the evening. And yeah, it's recording. I've been recording for 26 minutes. I hope you like today's read, and I'm on page number 61. Tomorrow I'll revise everything again, and I'll try to implement these tomorrow, and I hope I get better outcomes than today and I improve myself. Until then, goodbye, good night.